There's a particular kind of blindness that comes from routine. Not the inability to see, but the refusal to look. When life becomes a series of automated gestures, you stop noticing the details, the shifts, the signs. You move through your days like you're walking a path you've memorized in the dark. Your eyes are open, but you're unseeing. You're present, but you're absent. And by the time you realize something has changed, it's already too late to go back. This is a story about that blindness, about a man who didn't notice until he did. He was 41, married for 15 years, with 2 kids and a house in the suburbs. He worked in procurement for a pharmaceutical company, a job that paid well but extracted something invisible in return. His life was stable, predictable, safe, and somewhere along the way, he'd mistaken safety for satisfaction. His marriage had become a routine, not bad, not broken, just automatic. Morning coffee in silence, goodnight kisses that landed on foreheads instead of lips, conversations that were only about logistics. Who's picking up the kids? What's for dinner? They moved around each other like polite, functional roommates. He told himself this was normal, that passion fades and partnership remains. But deep down, he didn't believe it. He just didn't know what else to do. His wife had changed. Or maybe he'd just stopped paying attention. She wore her hair differently now, had for months, maybe a year. He couldn't remember when it started. She dressed differently too, with more care in her choices, in colors he didn't recognize. She'd joined a book club, started going to yoga, and spent more time with friends whose names he only half remembered. He noticed these things peripherally, the way you notice traffic or the weather, present, but not important, just background noise to the routine. On a Saturday in April, she told him she was going out for a book club meeting. He nodded from the couch, said fine, already thinking about the game he was going to watch. The kids were at sleepovers. The house would be quiet. He didn't ask where the meeting was, who would be there, or anything at all. He just waved as she left. He heard the door close, the car start, the sound fade, and then silence. He watched the game, ordered pizza, drank 2 beers, and scrolled through his phone. The evening passed the way evenings do when you're alone and not lonely, just empty. Around 9:30, he went upstairs. He walked past the bedroom, past the bathroom, and then he stopped. Something caught his attention. A scent, faint, unfamiliar. Coming from the bedroom, he stepped inside and looked around. Nothing seemed out of place. The bed was made, clothes were put away, everything was normal. But the scent was still there, hanging in the air. It wasn't floral or sweet. It was something else, sophisticated, layered. It had depth and complexity, amber and something woody, warm but restrained. It smelled expensive. He didn't recognize it. He had never smelled it before. And that's when the first crack appeared in his routine. A question started to form. Where did this come from? He walked to a dresser and looked at the perfume bottles arranged there. Brands he recognized, scents he associated with holidays and date nights from years ago. But this wasn't one of them. This was new. He started opening drawers, not frantically, just looking. And there, in the back of her closet, behind scarves and sweaters, he found it. A bottle he'd never seen, dark glass, a minimal label, the kind of fragrance that doesn't advertise. It trusts you to know. He picked it up and felt its weight. It felt deliberate, expensive. When had she bought this? Why hadn't he noticed? He sprayed it once into the air, and the scent bloomed. Fuller now, richer. It filled the room, and with it came a realization that landed like a weight in his chest. This fragrance wasn't for him. This change, this version of her that wore different clothes and styled her hair differently and went out on Saturday nights, none of it was for him. And maybe it never had been. He sat on the edge of the bed, the scent surrounding him, and he started thinking. Really thinking? When was the last time he'd asked her about her day? Not the logistics, but her actual day. How she felt, what she thought. When was the last time he'd looked at her and really seen her? Not the role she played, wife, mother, partner, butter. The person inside all of that. He couldn't remember. He couldn't pinpoint a single moment. And that terrified him. He thought about the book club, the yoga, the friends, the new fragrance. And he finally understood she'd been building something. A life adjacent to their life. Not leaving, not yet, but preparing. Creating spaces where she existed as herself, not as half of a couple. And he'd been so buried in routine, so convinced everything was fine, that he'd missed all of it. Until now, until this scent forced him to see. She came home at 10:15. He was still sitting on the bed. She walked in and stopped when she saw him, asking if he was okay. He looked at her, really looked. She was wearing the fragrance. He could smell it now, stronger, more present. And she looked different, too. Not just the hair or the clothes, her expression. There was a distance in her eyes, a guardedness, like she'd already started saying goodbye and was just waiting for him to notice. He asked her about the book club, what they'd discussed. She seemed surprised by the question. She told him it was some novel about marriage and regret. He asked if she liked it. She said yes, that it felt true. They stood there in the bedroom, the scent between them, and he realized this was the longest real conversation they'd had in months. It had taken him invading her privacy, finding her secret fragrance, to finally pay attention. The next morning, he woke up early and made coffee for both of them, something he hadn't done in years. She came downstairs, looked surprised. They sat at the table, drank their coffee, and didn't talk much. But they were there, present, together. It wasn't a fix, it wasn't a solution, but it was a start. A recognition that something had been missed, something was being lost. And maybe, if they both tried, it didn't have to be. He started noticing her hair, her clothes, the small sighs she made when she thought no one was listening. He started asking real questions and listening to the answers, trying to understand who she'd become while he wasn't looking. It was awkward at first, forced, but they kept trying. She noticed, too, his effort, his attention. She didn't trust it immediately. There was too much distance, too many years of being unseen. But slowly, something shifted. They started having dinner together, just the two of them, after the kids went to bed. They talked about things that weren't logistic streams they'd abandoned, regrets they carried, fears they'd never voiced. The conversations were hard, often painful, but they were real. He asked about the fragrance. She told him she'd bought it for herself. Not for him, not for anyone else, just for her, because she wanted something that was hers, something that made her feel like a person instead of a function understood. He told her he was sorry for not seeing her, for assuming everything was fine just because it was familiar. She didn't say it was okay, because it wasn't. But she acknowledged the apology, and that mattered. Months passed. They were different now, not fixed, not back to how they were, because how they were had been the problem. They were something new, something fragile, still learning who they were to each other after years of sleepwalking. The fragrance became a marker, a reminder of what almost happened, of what could still happen if they stopped paying attention. He bought his own fragrance, something different, something that required thought. When he wore it, she noticed. She commented, asked about it, and he told her the truth, that he wanted to be someone worth noticing, worth choosing. Not just the familiar default, but someone present, intentional, alive. She didn't say anything, just nodded. But he saw something in her eyes. Not forgiveness, not yet, but possibility. A crack in the distance, a chance. He thinks about that Saturday night often. What if he hadn't gone upstairs? What if he hadn't noticed that scent? How much further would she have drifted before he realized she was gone? He was late, almost too late. But if he hadn't stumbled into that moment of accidental awareness, he might have lost everything without ever knowing what he had. They're still together, but it's different now. More conscious, more deliberate, and they check in. They ask questions. They look at each other instead of past each other. It's constant work, because attention isn't a destination, it's a practice. She still wears the fragrance, the one that was just hers. But sometimes now, she wears it for him too. Not because he asked, but because he notices. Because when she enters a room, he looks up and he sees her. And that changes what the fragrance means. It's still hers, but now, it's also theirs. A shared language, a reminder of what was almost lost. He learned that invisibility isn't just about being unseen. It's about unseeing, about looking without seeing, about being so trapped in routine that you miss the signs of connection eroding. But sometimes, if you're lucky, you get one chance to wake up. The fragrance didn't save his marriage. He did. She did. They did. But the fragrance woke him up. It was a warning, a last chance. An tu italiano verli. Just in time. He wears his own fragrance now with intention, as a reminder that presence matters, that attention is a choice, and that the people you love deserve to be truly seen. Because when you really look, you get to choose to be part of their life, or watch it drift away. He almost chose wrong, but almost isn't the same as too late. Almost is still a chance. An toque italiano. Thank you for watching.